Mm-hmm. Cool. We're live. Awesome. Well, welcome back to Worldhoppers, a collaborative channel where we gush about books, and all of the proceeds from merch and AdSense goes to charity. Today we are talking about romance tropes that we like, don't like, and all of that. And so I will let our new folks introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Heather from BookTubes. I recommend romance based on trope, subgenre, and theme, so I give lots of recommendation list videos.
Hello, I am Stephanie from Steph's Romance Book Talk, and I dabble in pretty much everything from light and fluffy romance to dark and twisted romance, and everything in between traditional and independent romance.
I'm Nicole. My channel name is Who Picked This Book, and like Steph, I dabble in a lot of different genres and subgenres within romance, and really anything is fair game. I'll always try something once.
Hello everyone, my name is Charles. I'm from the channel Books on Stereo, and my title and my channel name is I only listen to audiobooks. And not a lot of romance, especially indie romances, published on audiobooks, but definitely trying to read more, a little bit physically, a little bit more. So I'm getting there. But I basically am like Steph and Nicole. Anything's game for me. If you tell me it's super steamy, auto buy, clean romances are usually just like a hard pass, especially if no one tells me about it beforehand.
Awesome. I need to get to the thing here now. Elle's better at this back end stuff than I am. Sorry, guys. It's my first time. So yeah, let's get into the general stuff of what is a favorite trope. So for me, regarding romance, I really am a huge fan of the alpha male. Not in real life at all. 0%
Yeah.
in real life. And I love a fated mate, soulmate, destined to be together.
Yeah.
Again, I don't find it very realistic in real life, but I love reading about it. It's just so fun. Yeah. So those would probably be my favorites currently. I don't read a ton of romance, but I do really love having a good solid romance in a book. And I'm trying to read more just straight up romance. So
I know, that's why I'm so excited that you guys are all doing this. 'Cause I'm like, I would love to hear more about it. I actually feel like, Joshana, we could even have a question of like tropes. I almost want us, before we get too into it, talk about ones that we like in books but not in real life. Because I feel like if only Alan were here to like rant about this, but like the moody character that there's like more to them, that's always entertaining. But like in real life, you're like, dude, what's your problem? Like you don't actually want that person to be like that. I'm not gonna lie, I am such a sucker for like the cutesy, not overly protective where the character can't do anything, but just that like they don't even realize they're in love yet, but like the one character is just like really protective over them. I just think it's the cutest thing. I don't know if that even counts as a trope, but yeah, I just think it's always super precious. I like when they don't know that they love each other, but you're like, you do though. Like you do love each other.
I just like want to go off my thing because when I found Elle's channel like 2 years ago or something, I remember watching like one of her first videos and she was like, I'm not really that into romance. So I was like, aw. But then like I loved the way she talked about books, and I watched like all of her trope videos and all stuff that I was like, oh, I love that too. But like I didn't know how to put it into words or like to explain the thing. But I'm like, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. A big moment in my life. Just
Well, it's funny because it's not that I'm opposed to romance. And I think as I've read more, it's also just kind of confronting the internal bias that we have toward the romance genre, or just romantic subplots being a bigger deal in books. but I'm not opposed to it. It's just that I usually want, when I'm reading, this like big adventure to be a part of the book, which is why if I'm going to read something with romance, I still want the fantasy, and it's hard for me to read like just romance. But that, like, I'm not opposed to romance, and I certainly don't get people that look down on it, because I'm like, guys, we read about dragons. Like, they're not people.
We have dragons.
That's true.
Romance has dragons.
Yeah.
We got shapeshifters. We got everything.
Ooh, there are definitely some shifter dragon books that I can recommend for you.
Our dragon
Oh yeah.
There are a ton.
Okay, so I love like falling in love with the dark character, like the assassin or something.
Ooh.
And like the chick is really good with swords, and she's like slicing people, and like you have like the broody assassin trainer, and he's just like, yeah, you did good. And I'm just like, oh,
That is a fun one.
yeah, I don't love that in real life. I have a very nice, mild-mannered husband, so
Right.
That's what I always joke, like, if my husband were in book form, he would be like Laszlo Strange, like really sweet, nice, likes to read. So I have a soft spot for Laszlo. But like Kaladin, who doesn't like Kaladin? But he's so moody. He's so moody, and he's grumpy all the time. And I'm like, you just need a hug and some love. But like in real life, I would not be able to handle that at all. I think.
Yeah. Too funny. Steph, you're up.
So, well, I'm sort of a unicorn when it comes to my favorite trope, because so many people in the romance community don't like the trope that I like, which is secret baby. If an author can do secret baby well, I am so here for it. I love it. It's like my catnip. I'm like, yes, give it to me. Give it to me. Oh, y'all broke up before? You finding out there was a pregnancy? There was an oops. There was just a, like, I'm like, yes, yes, yes.
All the drama.
Yes, the drama behind it. I tried to call you and you didn't call me back, or your agent told me to go get rid of the baby, so I decided to do it on my own. And then come to find out he wanted to be in the with the person the whole time. I love it. I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. And then my other like catnip is dark romance. Whew, like all of the dark,
romance.
forbidden, taboo stuff, just all of it. Kidnap me, murder, serial killers, all of that. I'm just like, oh yes, oh my god, how, why? But of course, I don't want any of that in real life, because that is all horrible. It's all horrible. But to read about it and to be on like the edge of my seat to find out what's going to happen next is just like, oh, it is such catnip for me. Such catnip for me.
That's so funny.
Entertaining, right?
I have a question. Why do a lot of people not like the secret baby thing?
Well, so I don't know if it's the secret baby or if it's the oops baby that's more of the unlike of it, because I mean, I've known a lot of people
that happen like as a result.
It's communication. It's like,
okay,
lack of communication.
That
thing.
or the fact that, who forgets to take their birth control.
A lot of people.
Experiences. I know a lot of people. a lot of people that had children thanks to forgetting birth control, taking antibiotics with birth control. I mean, like legit. I don't know if it may be a generational thing, because my generation, woo, there are a lot of people that have babies because they mixed their antibiotics and their birth control. They forgot to take it. Or it was a drunken one night stand and oops, I happen to be ovulating. So
it seems like it probably to a lot of people it feels like too unrealistic or something. but like
Yeah.
it's actually pretty realistic.
We do. This video
Yeah.
is going to be like sex education.
101.
Right?
Schools aren't giving it to your kids, but Worldhoppers will.
Yeah. We'll educate everyone.
Yeah, it's probably like the miscommunication trope, because I know a lot of people hate that. I mean, Joshana, you were just tweeting about it the other day. You're like, miscommunication is like the worst. So funny.
Yeah, I can't deal with it.
Mhm.
You're like, but that's mine.
I just
Oh, that's yours? You like
That's one you like?
miscommunication?
is like
Oh no.
I
Oh,
feel like a judgment right now of like, you like that?
Yeah.
No.
what's your favorite then?
Mine, it would definitely be alpha males. I really love, the alpha hero, like Deshauna was saying,
Mhm.
fated mates. It's just so, and then kind of bouncing off what Heather was saying, that, it's like that one,
Mhm.
like they don't, like they're so protective of them. But, so that's what you really get that with the alpha heroes and the fated mates, is that
Yeah.
that male is just going to protect, her
Mhm.
with every fiber of his being. And always like the grouchy, grumpy, like gruff hero with everybody else, but just like pudding with the heroine. I just love that so
Yeah.
much.
I was gonna say, I love that too. It's like usually you find that in the protectiveness trope, but when you have that very stoic person that doesn't usually say much, but then like they have the biggest soft spot for like, or they kind of get a little flustered or blushing. They don't really say anything, but they like get a little red when they see that person, and you're just like, oh, again, like you love them, you just love them.
Just say you love each other.
They're just complete, like they're just putty in the other person's hands, but they're just like complete jerks to everybody else. Like I love
Mhm.
That is fun.
Another trope that I really
Yeah.
like is the forced proximity trope. It's like, if they're stuck in a
Ooh.
cabin in the middle
One
of a snow,
bed.
there's only one bed.
One
Oh my god,
bed.
I live for it.
Yeah.
They got
It's cold outside. We have to take off our clothes to survive. Like,
Just
cuddle for
Right?
one. Yes, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Love it.
The electricity just happens to go out, and there's just no other way
They're
for us
stranded.
to survive.
Yeah.
I'm like, how convenient. Yes, take off your clothes.
Yep. Yeah. Mhm.
Love it.
Everything that makes me think of, which a lot of things make me think of Game of Thrones, though, with Ygritte and Jon Snow when they're all cuddled up and she's like wiggling around and he's like, stop it.
Yeah. One thing just leads to another,
Mhm. Before you know it. Oh,
And then
God.
voila.
And then voila.
Yeah. I would say
How about
for
you?
me,
So what's your favorite trope?
my favorite trope is definitely the insta love, or insta lust, I should say. That's a very specific
Yeah.
type of romance, where it's insta lust, where page one, hero says, I see her, I want her, sold.
yeah.
And then
That is
like that's like
tension.
that's it. It's like kind of fated mates, but like I would say that's like your like fated mates equivalent in contemporary.
Yeah.
The insta-lust. And then I would say I'm catnip for like billionaire, anything billionaire romance, anything with royalty. I eat that up like it's nothing. And then same like Steph, dark romance. The taboo the better. Unless it's like too realistic, and then I'm like, hold up. Like,
Wait a minute.
like the taboo stuff in romances can get really, really taboo.
Yes,
I
it
was like,
can.
you're like,
Oh, yes, it can.
So those are my favorite tropes.
I'm thinking of that Mean Girls meme with the kid who's like, Mom, can you pick me up? I'm scared.
Yeah.
Like, oh God. I feel like that's how I would
what
be.
we're talking about.
Yeah.
I'd be like, what's happening? Oh my God.
Mhm.
Gotta-
Charles, that makes sense why you love Madison Faye then.
Whew. I would not recommend like new. Oh, sorry, my dog is saying hi.
puppy.
oh.
Yeah, that's
So
how I love
needy.
Madison Faye. It's like it's the same story over and over. But like, just the insta-lust. It just gets you every time. I would not recommend it to new romance readers. They're like, "What is this?" I was like, "This would scare them off."
They'd be like, "Is all romance like this?" No.
Yeah, it's
People gotta dip
intense.
their toes in, I feel.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like I like when there's like that instant they're just drawn to each other. There's something about the other person. I definitely like that. The insta love, I feel like it gets mixed up with insta like attraction or lust.
Yeah, like insta lust, yeah.
But
Yeah.
insta love where they're literally proclaiming their love for a person really soon, I hate it. I hate it. I'm like skipping the line here, going to like the hated tropes, but I do not like. I hate when somebody's like, "I love you," and I'm like, "You don't know them." So that's why the faded. Like, I also don't like the faded lovers. I can't stand that because I'm like, what if the person sucks though? Like, they're fated to be together.
Well, then they don't love each other.
That's part of the.
They just
That's part of the
faded.
faded, though. They
only
just know
faded
their
if they
beings,
love
their
each other.
souls know.
Yeah.
Yes,
I hate
their
it.
They know
souls
they're
know.
one.
They do love each other.
I
That's
like
why
when
it's faded.
I like when it's ambiguous. When it's like, are we fated? I can't tell. And then there's the question of like, do I love you just because maybe there was some kind of magical thing, or do I love you because I like those? Because then at some point you're like, get over it. I love when they do actually love each other. I feel like it's on repeat here, but yeah, I'm not a fan of the fated lovers, and I'm not a fan of the insta. I mean, everybody, I feel like most people don't like miscommunication. I'll let Joshana go off on that. But I'll add to, I hate, and I'm curious if any of you like this, I hate the character that thinks that they need to be really mean to another person to protect them. When I'm like, why don't you just tell them what makes them in danger? Like, that would be better. But the like, I'm just going to be really cold and distant out of nowhere. And the person's like trying to figure out what's going on. They're like, I think it's just best that we just like don't talk to each other. And you're like, why? That's never what's best. It's never what's best. I hate it. I hate it so much.
But see, so with that, I think that has to go with probably like the author's way of telling the story to you.
Yeah.
Because if you're sitting back as the reader and the author is like showing you both sides of that sort of coin to say, you know, this is why they're doing this, even though the character doesn't know that this is why they're doing the character that's being protected doesn't know why this miscommunication is happening. But you as the reader know, you can be like, I mean, in those situations, I can get behind it. I can totally get behind it. And miscommunication doesn't bother me because I know that in like real life, it actually does happen. And people do stupid things because people are stupid. And in books, if an author can, you know, give me that whole sort of feeling in the background of, you know, okay, I can see where it's going. And having that understanding that, you know, they're doing it because it's for the good of the couple. I'm going to need that other person to get their heads out of their butts and, you know, talk about it type thing.
Get it together.
You know, I do yell at the books. I do. If it goes on too long, I will yell at a book and I'll put it in the freezer, as Nicole says. If the characters make me mad. But yeah.
Well, I cannot, and it's just such a personal thing. I mean, I feel like a lot of people don't like miscommunication tropes of various kinds, right? That's like a common thing. It infuriates. I'm so not like that in my real life. I've never been like that. Like in my romantic life, I am an oversharer. I am overly transparent, overly communicative to the point of like annoying my partners.
Yep.
And being told like, you're too honest. You tell me too much. I don't need to know all of this. But like, I just don't want there to be any crossed wires. I don't want you to assume something. I don't want to be assuming stuff. So I'm just going to be like, hey, this is where I'm at right now. Where are you at? And I also, if I get that feeling that whoever I'm talking to or dating is being like standoffish, or I feel like some kind of emotional wall that they're putting up, I just call them out on it. I'm just like, hey, why are you being like this? Like, let's talk about it. And like, I'm not afraid of that emotional confrontation or conversation. And I know it's so realistic. I have friends like this where I'm like, why don't you just talk to him? Just ask him what his deal is.
Exactly.
Like, yes, I can't. I don't know. Oh my God. And I'm like, just do it. So I know it's real, like realistic, but it frustrates me so much on a personal level. It does not compete.
So you can't.
Does
We
not
get it.
compete.
We get it.
Ugh.
It reminds me a little bit, one of my favorite comedians who's like the filthiest, most offensive person, but Tom Segura talks about how he hates when his guy friends break up with girls because they're like, she wasn't slutty enough. And he's like, well, did you tell her what you like? And they're like, no. Like, how is she supposed to know what you like if you just
mind reader?
But kind of, Deshauna, what you were saying, my husband is such a sweet person that like I can tell when he's upset by something, but then in his mind, he's like, it's not worth saying. And I'm like, you can definitely let me know, like if I'm doing, because I encourage the communication, because in his mind, he's like, it's not a big deal. It's not worth bringing up because I don't, this is stupid and I don't want to like be hurtful. I'm like, you won't be hurtful because if you're like, oh, I just thought the way you said that was kind of mean, that's fine. Like tell me and then I won't, but like in books when it's like, oh, well, I don't want this person to follow me into battle. Of course, I'd make it a fantasy thing, but like they'll follow me into battle if they know that I love them because they'll want to help me, and I don't want them to help me. So better they stay behind with like all of the peasants, and you're just like, so let them fight if they want to fight. Like you'd be stronger together. Your chances of anyway. I just get so frustrated when they're like, I'm just gonna be cold and standoffish, and I'm not gonna express the whole situation. That's crazy.
Yeah. I can't do it.
What is that sound?
I don't know what's annoying.
Here, we can mute.
Yeah.
For now, we'll mute that one.
Okay.
All right. So miscommunication and stuff, but I think it plays into both. Like with the insta love, I love insta love. I love things moving quickly. I cannot stand when insta love is an excuse to have no conversations between your couple. To me, that is bad writing. I'm like, I'm here to hear.
What? 20 pages?
Sorry.
20 pages. Sometimes there's no need for talking. 20 pages. Sometimes you just get to the dirty. Get down to it. Rock your skins, man.
Getting a happily ever after. And also, I'm like you guys. Like, I need to know what's happening. Like, if my husband, he's quiet when he's mad, but I'm like, what is going on with you? What is happening? Tell me what I need to know. And so, like, in a book, I'm just like, how did you go from strangers to loving each other for all of eternity? You had to have a conversation in there somewhere.
Get to know each other.
Communication.
I'm good.
If you're going happily ever after it, you need to have learned to have been like, hey, is this what happened? I thought this is what was going on. You cannot just break up for 3 months every time you're mad at each other and then expect me to believe that a chapter later in the epilogue, you know how to fix all your problems and work it out. It makes no sense.
That's like just get to the dirty.
Why are we wasting all these pages talking?
Just get to the smut.
Please.
I'm cool with the insta love. I can get down with the 2 things.
I mean,
It's the best type. It's the best. It's the best.
In the favorite part, we didn't talk about like slow burn. I do like a good like the tension is building, but I
that is my least favorite trope. I hate a slow burn.
Really?
Oh my God.
I like it.
800 pages, 500 of them are just glazing at each other. Oh, I love you, but I'm not going to tell you. No,
not that. I don't like that. I like when it's like you can just like I keep saying like you're like you two like each other. I can tell you
tension,
but like the tension
building.
What I don't like is when the tension is building and then they have a moment where like maybe finally things are gonna happen and then like something happens that like distracts them and you're like, dang it, no, stop, come back to this. When are you gonna smooch already? Okay, when are you gonna smooch? Or
House of Earth and Blood.
Don't even mention that book to me.
House of
Y'all
Earth
want to
and
send
Blood.
me a
You wanna send me
tangent?
off?
Give me something.
So you know.
Give me a book that goes fade to black or is categorized as a clean. Oh no, you will hear me
Ooh.
rage.
I got so angry.
Rage. Oh my
You get
god.
I don't like
Like,
Fade to Black. Either. I'm
I
like,
feel you. Like I
feel
read a book
deceived.
once and it just
Mm-mm.
had one kiss, and I was like, hold up, did I miss something? Like, so I read it twice. And I was just like, wait, this is clean. I was so incredibly angry.
Was it a book? Wait, it couldn't have
I
been.
already bought, like,
It wasn't.
what's up?
It was
I missed it.
Soraya Wilson.
Oh no, don't know who that is.
She's like,
Here, look.
That's
Yeah,
because I
she's
find.
big on Amazon. She's big on Amazon.
Oh, there's a couple authors that I've read like one of their books, and I'm just like, yeah, no, I won't be reading anymore. No, thank you, because
Not
you
enough.
don't like to have sex, and I'm not. No sex.
That's what we're
No
here for.
sex. No sex. No, I'm not here for that. I'm gonna need some
Yeah.
slapping of skins, some
Nope.
something. I mean, I can do a good fade to black, but it has to be a good fade to black. Like I got to have some
Yeah.
foreplay within
Yeah,
it.
something,
Like,
something
Yeah.
that
I
can be
don't-
on the page.
Something. I'm gonna need
Like
something
the
on
implied-
page.
Like there's like a really like one of them does something kind of sexy or says something kind of sexy, and then it's implied what's about to happen.
And then it just
Like,
goes away.
that I understand, because at some point, I'm actually curious because you guys, of course, read more than I do. But at some point, I'm like, there's only so many ways to describe this one thing, you know? So like, you gotta find the. I guess maybe that's why I like when the couples do communicate, because then like, I don't know how to explain it, but if they're just at some point, I'm like, I can just imagine like this whole incident. I'm a married gal. I know how it works, you know. Like you gotta find ways to make them care. I guess.
Yeah, for it to be interesting.
Yeah.
For me to
Yeah.
want to read about
Like
it.
Yeah.
last year I read 2 books that wow. How am I echoing?
Oh, I think it's just on your end. I don't hear it anymore.
Am I in?
I
Okay.
echo.
I heard an echo.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
Now it's better.
Okay. Well, I'm also not talking, so I don't know. Wait. Okay. Here we go. So last year I read 2 books that went fade to black, and one of them I didn't even realize that there was no sex in the book at all. Like at all. No sex whatsoever until I read the book, reviewed the book. The author contacted me because we are friends, and she was like, so what'd you think about the no sex? I was like, what, huh? Wait, huh? What? They sure didn't have any sex, but someone else did have sex. So maybe that was my thing. And I was like, hey, there was sex in the book by some parties. Some characters had some sex. Maybe not our main characters and the main couple, but you know, there was sex in the book, so I'm good.
So what I'm hearing is your least favorite trope is when nobody bangs.
Yes, that and slow burn. That and slow
Yep.
burn.
Yep.
Oh, I have. What does that say?
Banging is a plot.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Well, because it's real. Because usually with romance books, they tell you all the tropes before you go in, and they say super steamy,
Mhm.
or like they promise you stuff. And if it's all closed door, everyone's gonna be like, "What?" Like, you promised me like a steamy billionaire romance, and everybody's like, "The kiss the next day."
Oh, the next day. I hate when they flip the
Yeah.
page and says the next
Really,
day,
like,
or
the
know,
next
like,
day.
no.
I feel like the equivalent
I
is
smell
when-
bacon and
the fantasy equivalent is when you have dragons on the cover or in the title, and you're like, where were the dragons? Where were the dragons? I feel like that's the
most
equivalent.
of y'all favorite from last year. Y'all had me trying to read that book, and I was just not having it. I was like, "Are you serious?"
Is it if it's the
Hold on,
book
what
you're
book was
talking
it?
about?
This
Oh,
one?
No,
I was
no,
so
no.
mad. Yes, that book, and I'm so mad. I hated that book. I DNF'd that book.
I loved that book.
Okay,
I
wait.
loved
I
it.
need to know what is this book?
I get to talk about it, not you, Steph. This is A Heart of Blood and Ashes, A Gathering of Dragons. There are no dragons. The dragons are like the warriors. By me saying this is a great balance of fantasy and romance. And a little bit slow burn, and I cannot stand slow burn, but because they have so many interactions like constantly, even though it's like a solid 500 pages before they actually have sex, you still feel satisfied. You feel like things are happening. And so, but I love
What happened?
Nothing was happening.
We've got
happening?
head shaking happening.
There's an angry hand job, chapter 5. What are you talking about?
okay.
Did I miss that because I was falling asleep because it was so boring? I mean, what? Because I don't remember that scene at all whatsoever, and I swear it had to have happened after I did that.
Wait, I have to. So I'm, Deshaun, I'm gonna like throw you in really quick. So her and I both read. Obviously, it's not the same level of explicitness here, but The Beautiful by Renee Attier, and I was sitting there like, nobody is actually saying anything or doing anything. It's like the guy would just kind of like do this, and she'd be like, "What the heck was that for? Does he have a problem with me? Why did he do that?" And I'm just like, "He didn't do anything. He probably had a kink in his neck. Like, what is happening?" And Jashana was like, "Oh, I love that though," and I'm like, "Why?" Like 2-page monologue about how clearly this guy's a jerk because he like clenched his fist for a second. And I'm like, I don't understand what that is.
I saw the clenched fist. I know what you're talking about specifically. It reminded me of Pride and Prejudice.
Yes.
Where they touch and he clenches the fist really quick. Cause like, that's why he did it. But she's like, what's his problem? Why is he mad at me? And you're like, he's not, he loves you.
It's all over there swooning. What?
Pride and Prejudice. Oh my gosh.
Just
Yes.
ruined
Mr. Darcy.
Yeah. That's what it reminded me of that. The second book in that series, though, I didn't really like. I'm not continuing the series. But yeah, in the first one, we definitely felt differently about that. And then in Fireborn, same thing, though, but opposite, where I was like, nothing. They just sit here thinking about each other all the time.
And I liked that one because I'm like, but all of their trauma, they're just so traumatized. And like,
I get it. That's all they think about all the time.
I like when characters are sad and like,
yeah, she likes people being like sad and like forlorn.
Yeah, I like the sadness in characters.
I don't
Steph,
like
you have no room to talk. All your best books of 2020 are heart-wrenching, rip your heart out, they will make you cry. And you're like,
I'm down for a good cry. What are you talking about? I'm good. I'm good for a good cry because crying is good. It's a soul cleanser. Make me cry, make me emotional, let me feel. And because I got choked, so I don't know if you guys watched my video, but the video that Heather is talking about is my top 20 for 2020. And I actually pretty much almost cried through the last, 3, right? The top 3 books. I was just like,
Yeah.
I love them. I loved them because that's what they took me through. They took me through the yay, ooh, swoon, and why?
Did any of them
And then
get
you
kidnapped? Though is what I need to know.
Did they get kidnapped?
Probably.
Kidnapped, taken from their family, and they're like,
in one of the top. Well, I think in one of the top 5, or maybe it might have been the top 10. One of the characters actually dies. So technically, it's not a romance; it's a love story. But one of the main characters does die in one of the books.
that they live happily ever after. There's one rule.
So technically, okay, there's a couple ways that you could see how the story could be considered a romance. The author agrees with me that when I categorized it, that I placed it as a love story and didn't place it in romance. And that was after we had like a huge discussion. Like we sat and cried. Like that's how, yeah. I cried with the author of the book after I was like, after I finished it. It was like, you did this to me. Why? And I'm not calling it a romance.
Need a therapy
No
session.
ACA, no romance.
Yeah, it isn't a romance.
There you go. There you go. Oh man.
Back to least favorite trope. I think we were left with Nicole, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So some of my least favorite tropes. We talked about slow burn. I don't gravitate towards slow burn at all. Like there are exceptions, but I'll save that for the other prompt that we have. But I don't like beta heroes. I mean, I'm more gravitated toward alpha heroes. I don't like, reading about the cinnamon roll hero, but like I said, there are exceptions. And also bully romances. I don't like bully romances. So I don't like when our male character is excessively mean to our female main character. I don't like that.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
It's just, it doesn't seem very realistic to me. I was like, how are you going to be so mean to this person and then you're going to eventually fall in love? Like, it doesn't really, no. You'd have to do some major groveling on your freaking knees for me to do that. So,
yeah, that's fair.
Does anybody here like that trope?
I like some. Lots that I dislike.
The author has to do it well.
A believable reason for them to be mean. Or a believable reason to be redeemed. And it's a good author. And honestly, there are so many that make me mad that I don't explore it a whole lot. I don't give a whole lot of new authors a chance with it because I'm just like, no, this is
done poorly so many times.
One page and then kiss them the next page. That
makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Here's Charles. Charles,
I would say dating your brother's best friend trope. I absolutely hate that trope because it usually ends up like, oh, let's not tell my brother, and then somehow it always ends up in some big fight where the brother's like fighting to defend his sister's honor. Like we're like in the medieval ages, especially when they're like 25 and up. I'm like, you guys are so childish right now. Like, just tell your brother. I'm like, you're a grown woman. Like, if it's done really well, then I can get on with it. But when they do like, oh, let's keep it a secret. Let's not tell the other person. And then always I'm like, okay, I already know how this is gonna play out. Your brother's gonna get angry. You guys are gonna get in a fight. Then you guys are gonna break up, and they're gonna come back together. Then
I gotta say, I'm very glad that you added best friend after brother because it was like, where's this going? So like
dating your brother.
I mean,
there's
that one of the taboo ones that
step siblings are we're hot there for a minute. So it's like
step. Yeah, I've heard about step.
When we didn't talk about at any point within favorite or least favorite, so I actually do want to know. But like forbidden romances, like you can't be together because the world like won't let these two groups of people. They think it's whatever. I dig that. I do like that.
A Romeo and Juliet type of thing.
As without stupid main characters, yeah, because Romeo and Juliet are like the dumbest people. I always joke, I'm like, what if Shakespeare meant for this to be a comedy about how like ridiculous young people are? Yeah, and that's kind of what it feels like because they're so over the top and they're so spoiled and like all the time about everything. I'm like, this seems funny to me, but yes, the whole like we can't be together because of XYZ, but they love each other anyway, and like, and I don't know, I definitely dig that. I like that a lot.
That is
definite. That's in the catnip. That's in the dark, taboo, forbidden category for me as a favorite.
Yeah, that tension.
Do love it.
That really.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like we can get caught.
I love a good age gap. Woo! Give me age gap on either side. Either side. Female or older, younger male, male older. I'm all for it. All of it. All of it. Age gap. please. Yes, and thank you.
Just like when they're of age.
Yes.
Just when they're
Yeah.
of age. I want to add a
As
caveat
well,
to
yeah.
that.
yeah.
Because there's a lot of
Yes.
there's a lot
That's
of
what we're
dark
given, right?
high school 15, 16, or
Yeah.
they just turned to like
And that does not
17 to
work for me,
18. So
so-
like
Right.
just like we're saying 18
Yeah.
and above at least.
Everybody is of
Yes,
the age of
yes.
consent, but
Everyone's of age.
Not even of age of consent, because each state is different. So I'm talking about if you're an adult, if you're 18
Yeah.
or over, if you
Mhm.
can legally go out and be called an adult outside of your house,
You can
and
see
you
a
now
rated
have to
R
pay
movie.
taxes.
Right.
Exactly. Then you're an adult. But not I'm very fine on that whole age of consent thing, because that is how some authors get away with
Yes.
doing
Mhm.
taboo as
they're like 16
as
or
dark
something.
romance.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because they're like, oh, but they
Mhm.
were 16, and in that state that the story was
Mhm.
talked about,
Yeah.
it was age of consent. And I'm like,
It's legal.
But it doesn't matter. because
Yeah.
There's so
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
much maturing between 15 and 18, 18 and 20, 18,
Mhm.
22. You know, I can do it
Mhm.
if they're 18, but I like it better if they've hit 20, because I'm like, all right, so this guy's in his 30s. So
Yeah.
a 20-year-old is still significantly younger. There's a big maturity jump from 15 to 20, like huge.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Major.
Yeah.
At least hopefully, right? For most people.
Yeah.
Ideally. Not everybody.
Yeah.
That
And
kind
Amazon
of
actually banned books about
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Gets reported
Yeah.
enough. Other ones stay
Mhm.
on there.
Oh, I see. Oh, that makes sense. That kind of goes into a little bit of like, I mean, I guess all of these are like different tropes. We've talked about kind of different ones, but I feel like that kind of gets into that. I'm trying to think of what my like specifically something relating to, you know, banging is the plot that is my favorite. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what specifically. I just like when there's good fade to black annoys me also, but like also if there's no foreplay happening, I'm like, this isn't fun. Like this, I want some stuff going on because it builds that tension. I like that tension to be built of like just bang already. Like just can we get to it? I need you guys to get to it. Like I like that being built up. Like in the moment of like we're fooling around, there's foreplay, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna now, and then like that continues. And I'm like, oh my god, come on! And then they move to the bedroom, and then they move
That
to
was
here.
so satisfying. Yes.
Oh yeah, then it's just so satisfying once they actually do. I'm like, yes.
I'll
Oh,
add
so
to
great.
Mhm.
it's like literally not fun because most women are not rappers, you know, where they're like ready to go
Exactly.
immediately. Like,
Realistically.
they need a little bit. They're not a light bulb. You don't just like turn it on and switch and we're ready to go. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
No.
I like that tension to be built in the moment. But I can't think of something else that's like a trope. You guys probably have much more specific stuff.
I'll let everybody else talk first because I can't. I'm like trying to think because obviously I read fantasy mostly, and a lot of it doesn't have a lot of steamy scenes. And fantasy is kind of known for not always having the greatest like romances anyway. So I feel like I need to hear what you guys say because there might be something that
Sparks
jogs
it.
Yeah, sparks it. Oh, you're ready to go. You're like,
I know.
So funny of this. First of all, if you want to go fantasy or paranormal, I love like the biting with like the paranormal guys. I'm just like, yes, please
Ooh.
do that.
Like vampires like feeding and
Wall
stuff.
or up
Yep.
against a tree. I love bondage.
against a tree.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, as long as you have enough
Oh
padding.
yeah.
When like the authors like put in there so like she wasn't banging against the bark. I'm like, thank you. Yes, okay, we're comfortable. We can do this.
Yes.
Yes.
Like I love bondage. I love I love dominant submissive. So anytime the dominant is
Ooh.
or the guy is dominant in the bedroom, I'm like, well, however you want to do that, as long as we are getting this vibe. do this thing. You know, I'm like,
Love it.
yes, okay.
Love it. Yeah, I that just jogged. I like the like up against the wall or up against something
I
and
love
like
where it's
picking up.
like,
Like, yeah.
you've been driving me crazy. Now we have just gone inside the door, and I'm gonna rip your clothes off, and we're gonna.
Yes.
And I'm gonna get 18 orgasms tonight.
I have to say, to reference a comedian again, there's this comedian that talks about like why do women like the up against the wall thing? They're like, does it represent like the emotional support that you get from this person? And he's also talking about, he's like, nobody is, unless somebody's really strong, he's like, my situation is not shaped to like get this to work. It's so funny. It's super funny. He's like, in movies and chick flicks, they're like, oh, he's all up against the wall.
Right. Makes paranormals work because it's like, okay, they have superhuman
Super strength.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
That
Yeah.
animalistic feel to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So
Yeah.
my thing is BDSM. I found this author that was in the community that she's actually part of the community, and when I read her books, I just became just all like encompassed. I mean, I researched, y'all. It was not cute.
I bought the author for research purposes.
It was like, please don't let anybody find this computer that I'm working on, and make sure that the search history has been erased if anyone ever does find it, because all of her stories are so super realistic and amazing and awesome. And yeah, and ever since then, like I like that, especially when authors do it well, or I find out that they're part of the community, so I know that it's done well, that the things that are being said within it, the play that happens in it is correct. That's super sexy to me. And, you know, dominant submissive, or menage, or thruple, or quad, or even if I can find an author that can do reverse harem well, which has only been a handful of authors that I found that can do the woman is the attraction to the men, and they're all like, let me please you. I'm like, yes, please me, please me. You can please me all day long. All of you, come please me. Yes. Okay, I'm here for it. So yeah, those do it for me.
There could be an innuendo slipped in there about a handful, but I'll let that slide.
What? Huh?
I said there could be an innuendo in there. Yeah.
Now I'm curious. There's a channel called Jubilee. They have an Ask Me Anything series where they have like a wall up and somebody can ask the other person anything. And they had one with the dominatrix, like you can ask her anything. Mm-hmm. You should watch that. I feel like it's on YouTube, you know, so you don't have to worry about people seeing your search history, because it's a part of this like channel all about like people coming together, like love and harmony. So you can watch it when you feel bad.
I might have to do that.
Love it. I have to say, I also, as soon as I came back, I heard you talking about like thruples and stuff. I recently am reading, which it's like fantasy romance. I don't know if anybody here has read it. The Kingdom of, oh my God, I always forget. Freaking Blood and Ash, Fire and Blood and
Jennifer L. Armentrout.
Yeah, that one.
Oh
yeah. The second book drove me crazy because of the main character. But that's neither here nor there. But there's scenes where I was like, "Oh, are we doing this? Are we okay?" And I'm very excited for the next book.
Kind of alluded to, yes.
I was getting some vibes that I was not mad at.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Fingers crossed. Fingers are crossed.
And swords. I mean,
yep.
Basically.
I love that. I love it.
Yeah, this is what we talk about.
Love it.
It can
yours?
devolve.
I did have Nicole's.
Oh yeah, my turn. Okay. So what I like, my favorite sexy trope is kind of the non-verbal consent. And I'll tell you what I mean. It's when male or female, it doesn't matter which, one partner is like putting their hand kind of near their throat, like kind of asking for permission. And then the other one will like nod or do something. And then they'll go for the choke. I fucking love that.
So it's funny. So Deshauna and I, so our friendship a lot of times, like in our, private chats, we'll be like, you know how earlier she said, like, am I just like, I'm an overshare. So we were talking about, for this one book where people were talking about, like, is there consent in this book? And then it was specifically about kissing someone. And we got on this whole long thing about like, okay, well, we don't want some random stranger at the store to just come kiss us. But if like there's the body signals and the cues are there, it's like almost weird to be like, can I kiss you now? Like, like we're not 12. I don't. So we were having this whole conversation about these like the cues. And I feel like that maybe I'm not gonna lie, maybe not like, I don't know if choking would be the example I would have given. But,
personal preferences.
I this might be the like one for, I agree that I like the kind of like the body language speaks for itself,
Yeah.
I definitely like that. I'm gonna really quick, I don't like the like really intense, I'm gonna stare at, like, we're face to face, I'm just gonna like look you in the eye as I'm like enjoying myself. That's weird to me. I don't like that.
Elle's like, I am uncomfortable.
But a good dual masturbation scene is chef's kiss, man.
Those are
If an
good.
author
Those are good.
can do
Those are
that
good.
well, those are so good. I mean, like, I
Those
hated
don't come up
the
in the book
roommate last year. I hated the roommate last year, but that scene in the roommate, I was like, oh, yes, give it to me. Yes. Wait, can I reread that? I'm going to reread that scene again. The rest of the book is trash, but I'm going to reread that scene.
Over and over.
I will say, I see that doesn't really come up in the books I read, but I do like when there's a character that will, I don't know how to categorize this, like how to give a specific example, but when they say something, and I know this is like super tame, but when they just say something that you're like, oh dang, like I don't know how to describe it. Like I said, I can't give a good example.
A really seductive like thing. Is that what you mean?
No, more of like somebody. This maybe it fits into the slow burn thing, but like when for so long this tension's been building and finally somebody just like breaks the ice and they're like, I'm thinking of a very specific one, but it's kind of a spoiler, so I don't want to say. And it sounds weird if you haven't read the book because it makes it sound like something different. But there's like somebody says, should I just say it and we can say it's a spoiler?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the book Blood Song, which is fantastic, but they're raised in these, they're supposed to be celibate. And they're like really intense soldiers, or they're really intense like healers. They've been trained their whole life. And they call each other like brother and sister because they're like, oh, you're my sword brother or whatever, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And there's a part where the girl just tells the guy, she's like, I'm not your sister. Like, and then it's just like, oh dang, they're about to bang. In that moment, like when they just say that thing,
that's cool.
Like, finally. That's cool. I like that. And I know that's really tame. It's not the same as choking people or staring them down when they touch themselves. But
I just brought up the choking because I literally just read a book that had it in it. So.
Oh, really?
It was A Duke by Default by Alyssa Cole.
I feel bad. Here, let me put up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Spoiler ended so that people know in case they were afraid. Spoiler has ended now.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay. I'll go back to it. Okay. Anyway.
What else, Nicole?
I like those, like the nonverbal consent. Like they're still asking, they're not just taking liberties, but it's, nonverbal. And then also, kind of like what Heather was saying, if I'm reading a vampire book and there's not biting, I feel robbed. I said this last night when they were doing the Immortals After Dark live stream. I was like, there needs to be biting if there's a vampire in there. It just happened. It needs to happen.
This is okay. It's not, I feel like you guys need to read Ninth Reign. If you haven't already, you need to read Ninth Reign.
I got it ready to go. Okay.
Yeah. There's a little bit of biting in that one. So like there's not just biting by itself. There's like sexy biting. You'll like it.
Sexy biting.
Might have to check that out. That was Ninth Ring, right?
I'm gonna look at that one.
Okay.
Ninth Ring.
Mm-hmm. It's not obviously it's not like total romance, but there's a couple scenes. Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, I have seen you guys talking about that one. Okay.
Shoshana has my copy.
Yeah. I'm gonna read it soon, I swear.
I think Shoshana, you're gonna like it a lot.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Nicole, did you have another one?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Oh.
Choke me.
That's it.
I'm happy to go.
End of story.
Okay, this one's I don't know how to describe this kink, but I just read a book with it that has it. It's Stroke of Midnight by Kay Webster, and it's like the embarrassment kink, where like a hero.
Isn't that a Cinderella retelling?
Yeah, it's loose. It's a loose Cinderella retelling. So like essentially, our hero gets off on embarrassing the heroine, but it's done in a way that's like it's a billionaire romance too. So like he'll send her money and say like, I want you to do this, and she actually likes it too.
Like daring her to do
I
stuff.
swear, like, I did not know that. Yeah, it's like it was wild. I was like, I did not
That is a
expect
very
to like this as much as I did.
It is a very
that's like saying the daddy.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, daddy kink is pretty big, and when done well, can be chef's kiss. Yes.
There's a certain actor that makes me like daddy kink.
Wait, can someone explain this to me? Can someone explain to like little old prude me this? Is it what it sounds like?
The pearls.
Or
Yes.
It's not daddy issues.
Yep.
It's not daddy issues.
Wide
No, it's
range
not.
of daddy kink. It can be just saying that name. It can also be like a daddy dom is someone who wants to provide for you and protect you and also dominate you in the bedroom. There also are kind of the more extreme versions where there is age play, where you have them act.
okay. Can we call it something else?
There are also really deep ones.
The father figure kink.
Yeah.
It doesn't have like really ring to it.
They say it's daddy kink because they literally call him daddy. That's like that's
like
so.
oh hey daddy.
Yeah.
Can I just say I don't like that either. I don't like that either. You know, like I don't want to be called like there's a whole thing about being called like a good girl, and I'm like, I'm not my dog. I'm not my dog. Right? Like I don't want it's like I don't know. I don't like that. So.
I just like I read Katie Roberts. So
Oh yeah.
I think a lot of tropes, and especially kink tropes with romance, it's exposure, right? The more you read it, the more you're like, okay, I like how this author does it. Whereas the first time you hear about it, you're like,
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
See, that trope that you described makes perfect sense. I just don't like
the name
title for it.
The name of
But the embarrassment thing, getting back to that, okay, I don't even like when characters are in an embarrassing situation. It like hurts me a little bit. Even watching shows like, I mean, The Office is like tons of just uncomfortable stuff. I'm just like inwardly
cringing.
Well, yeah, and I know like that's what makes it funny, but like that's what makes it sexy. I could never. I would not. I'm not like, oh, Michael Scott's being so weird right now, and I'm hot and heavy. Like that's never gonna be a thing ever. It's the opposite. If anything, I'm just like, well, if I was excited, I'm not now.
I definitely have secondhand embarrassment. I cannot stand to read about embarrassing things.
There'll be times when like within our group chats and stuff, my friends will be like, watch this video, it's so cringy. And I'm like, I can't. I can't do it. Sorry, I feel like I took over. You could what other ones do you really like?
Okay, I started out with the most controversial one because like I think most people would not like it. It's like it's a very specific. I was like, I read it. I was like, oh, I was like, what? I was like, okay. It was like chapter 1. You're just in it. And I would say like a tamer trope. I don't know if you can call it a trope, but like the dirty talk, like Tessa Bailey, like where I could just have that like banter and it could be fade to black, but it's like that's like where I think where the buildup happens because like the descriptions are pretty much the same for every other type of sex scene, but I really like if someone can do the dirty talk really well, then I'll be like, okay, we're getting to the scene now. Okay, let's listen. Let's see how they do this.
I'm actually curious, Nicole, since you like the nonverbal, do you like then dirty talk? Because it's like almost really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I do. Madison Faye does dirty talk really well.
I like everybody to say everything with their bodies. I prefer that.
No talking.
I
like dirty talk.
Like
like
it's
dirty
like
talk
almost a combination of what Deshaun with like the fist clenching type of thing. It's like that slight movement, like certain like the hand is moving a little bit or like the hips move a little bit, and you're like, we know what you want. You know, like I prefer that. Like I don't like when they're like, do you want me to do this to you? And I'm just like,
see, I like that. I like when they're like when the one person, whichever one partner tells the other one like, say what you want me to do to you. I'm always like, ooh.
Okay, that's different though.
Yeah.
Maybe I should clarify. It's different. That's different. I don't like when someone's, I don't know, when they're like, oh, so like, would you like it if I did this? And I'm just like, I don't know. For some reason, I don't like that.
I do. Or when they make them say like the dirty word, like that's one of my favorite.
Say the dirty word. Say the
My
dirty
favorite
word.
books of all time, City of Girls, which is not a romance, but she's young and it's her first like love. It's her first boyfriend. And he's just this smoldering, like charming, like sex on a stick type of dude. And it's her first time. Well, it's not her first time, but at any rate, it's her first time really like being with someone for more than one time. And and this is set in like the 1940s. And he makes her say the F word, which she's like, nobody said that word back then. Like she's telling the story when she's older. And yeah, he makes her say it. Like, what do you want me to do? You want me to blank you? Say it. And like makes her say it over and over. Like, oh, I love it.
I like that too.
Okay, so maybe it's like it depends on what. So I think you guys like Heather, what you were saying before, where it's certain authors, the way that they doing it. Okay, I can see it.
The way they do it.
That I'm like, that's some of it to. I think it's the cringe again. Like some of it to me is cringy, and then I'm like, that's not sexy though. Some of it, but I mean, what you just described, like that's fine.
Yeah.
Hard to just kind of wander around on your own because there's so many that are not going to be your taste.
Yeah.
I think this is a good experience. But if you can find a reviewer or an author even specifically who has similar taste to you and or like Elle, you're so good at this, explaining why or why not you might like this book, then you don't have to just randomly search all of Goodreads and hope that you stumbled on something that was that is key.
I was really liking
that makes sense.
Yeah,
I remember
watching who doesn't read a lot of romance and wants to dabble in it. Follow all these people.
Yeah, I will say I feel like
subscribe everybody here.
I surprise some people, but when I was first doing like critique partnering with other people where you swap manuscripts and stuff, with a girl that I was critique partners with, she was like, hey, there's a couple other people that we all write like slightly different genres. And so I thought it'd be fun for us to do like group swaps where we all kind of chime in, because sometimes if it's just one person, it's not enough to know, is that just that person's opinion or is this something, everybody agrees on? But one of the people in the group wrote erotica and I was like, this should be fun. And they wrote like they wrote, I mean, I don't want to say the word on Worldhoppers because it's an innocent channel, but they wrote like, let's just say not consensual violent stuff. And I was like, no thanks. Like I was just like, and then but then they were explaining, they're like, yeah, but like lots of people like this though. And I'm like, that
Like dubious consent.
what?
Yeah.
Like dubious consent.
Well, it's just, well, it was like they hated that person because something happened.
Mhm.
So they wanted revenge basically by, you know, hurting them. And I'm just like, no.
Got it.
And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I don't want to read about somebody like
Yeah.
basically getting torn apart through sex. Not my favorite. No. But I was like,
Dark, dark.
like that's like super dark. And I'm just like, you know, that was probably not my the best like I don't think I'm the best person to give you, because you're gonna need the people that like that stuff, I guess. To,
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was
Sure.
not for me.
I'm
Oh,
not
yeah,
the one
definitely.
to critique this.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
you
think
gotta
that's like
like,
a distinction to make.
Oh yeah, because I'm definitely reading or rereading a series that I would not suggest for everyone to read, because
Mhm.
I like went through this dark hole for 4.5 books. It's a 5.5 book series, and for 4.5 books, I was just like, what else can happen? There's like cults and there's paranormal aspects to it, and the homegirl is like kidnapped and made into like this slave, and just all these bad things are happening, and you're just like, what? But by the end of it, I'm like, yes, it was amazing. That journey was great. Oh my gosh. Do it again. Let's do it again.
Encore.
Let's go again.
Yeah, encore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's definitely like thing about romance is there's an audience for everything. I mean, if you
Hmm.
I was talking about this, I think, with Chloe the other day, and it was just, if you're looking for, it could be so specific, but if you're looking for something, odds are someone within the romance genre has written it, you know? So it's like, it's
It's
just
like-
so broad and
Mhm.
so huge, the romance genre. It's like, if you like one specific thing, there are so many books for you to read, you know, and it's,
yeah.
so that's,
Mhm.
but it can go like the other way. It can be like so dark and so, you know, so twisted and so forbidden. And
So gritty.
I watched this one video also on YouTube, so you know other people can watch this too. But it was this game where they brought out people's sex toys, and then you had to try to guess whose sex toy belonged to who. And there was one where the person was like, I'm assuming, because they also don't always know what they are, and they're like, I don't know how this works. And there was one that they had a certain assumption for it. And then the person that came forward, they're like, so actually, this is what this does. And like, there's a lot of stuff on there, but that one, the people were like, oh, what? And it was like, I heard that. And like, my husband and I were like, oh, no. Like, we were just, it was real. It made me so uncomfortable. So uncomfortable.
Were you, as I said the one time, were you clutching your pearls?
Like, right, I know what it was, because like maybe I don't know. It just, I was like, I can't imagine that feels good, like at all. I'll tell you what it is.
Yeah.
If it's like, I almost feel like I need to put up a banner. So like,
Put up a banner of like NSFW.
here, but I think excuse me for not remembering exactly. I think it's called like spearing or something. It's like this long thing that men can like almost like a catheter, and I'm like, that sounds like a torture device. Like,
So pegging.
Is that what it's?
But no,
Or-
he said
yeah.
a
So
catheter.
pegging.
Well,
a catheter.
Different.
Is
But
it
it's,
So
yeah.
Their urethra.
The
it
other,
goes up that like area, and I was just like, huh?
Like,
That's
I'm not a person with that appendage, but that does not sound like fun.
That's what I
That
thought.
just-
I was like,
as a
what?
person who has been a patient and has had a catheter, it's not nice.
I just don't. I can't imagine. So when like, it was funny because they thought it went somewhere else. They were like assuming, right? And they're like, well, this one's a little skinnier than what most people like, you know, whatever. And then when they found out what it actually did, their reactions and like my reaction, and it was just, I was like, all right, then I guess that's what some people like.
Some people like it.
Yep.
Did not know that was a thing.
I
I learn
know.
something new every day.
Yep.
This is
Oh, there's lots of things that you wouldn't think are things that are things.
Sure,
that
I'm
you
sure.
should not. Woo.
Yep, there's a lot.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Like eating cereal from places, it's just absolutely disgusting.
Oh my god.
It's not fun.
cereal.
No. No. No.
I have
Like
read
milk
one
and cereal
but
and all of that. Mm.
I've read one with like berries and stuff.
Yeah.
No,
There's stuff
at
with
some-
like a chocolate bar. There's like chocolate and food. It goes crazy.
Oh,
Oh god.
Mm-mm.
yeah.
About that.
Ooh.
These conversations can devolve so quickly.
Yes, yes. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys probably have never had a lively conversation like this on the channel, so it should be quite interesting. Yes.
Hey, spice it up.
It'll be very
Spice it up
fun.
for
I mean, it's
Valentine's.
like, what nice little organization are we going to donate to this after this conversation? So on that note, what's your favorite cute trope?
like a sweet thing.
Well,
Well,
I'm
well,
gonna jump in here because I just want to say I don't deal in cute, so yeah.
Nothing.
I'm just gonna sit back and let y'all talk.
Steph's like, no.
I like when in books when like I don't know something comes up. Oh no, now I have an echo. Can you guys hear it too? Oh shoot. I'll let someone else go. Maybe it'll stop.
I will go. My favorite, like, cute, sweet thing, I feel like is, well, I don't know. I don't know if this is my favorite. This is just what's coming to mind. Like someone doing something like a acts of service type of thing, which is not my like top love language personally, but in a book, if like, oh, I'm really busy at work and I can't get myself dinner and I'm stressed, and then the partner shows up like with food and is like, here you go. I just knew you were hungry. Like just cute little crap like that. I'm like, oh, that's nice.
Being a good human being.
Yeah, just like being sweet, being thoughtful, just little thoughtful things like that. I don't know. I think those are sweet. They always make me go, oh, that's nice. That's cute. Or when they notice something really random, like in House in the Cerulean Sea, when Linus notices and loves the dude's socks, and his socks are always like these wild, funny socks, and he's like, he just thinks it's the cutest thing ever, and he talks about these socks like, I just love his socks, and I just think it's so sweet. Just little random things like that, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not really a trope, but just stuff I like. I'll try again.
Okay, let's see. Still echo.
Yeah.
I can see you.
I'll try muting myself for a while.
Okay. Am I echoing now?
No.
Okay. I am a mom. I take care of people all day long, all day, every day. I figure out what's for dinner. I figure out what the kids are going to wear. I figure out all these things. I freaking love when the alpha hero just like figures things out for her. You know, he's like, got you supper. Here, I'm going to take you out. No, we're going to stay home. Like, it's not like, you have to understand also, I don't like being told no. Like, if I want to do something, don't say no, okay? But at the time, I don't want to figure everything out and all day, every day. Like, do something for me without me telling me. Thank you. That is so cute. I also love when this happens like a lot in romantic suspense and stuff like that, but where like the hero's just like, I'm getting you an alarm system. Like he just marches in and he like, makes them safe. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I just love that.
Like that protectiveness coming out in like a real life like way, you know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's fun. Skipping over Steph, I guess.
Are we skipping over stuff?
It's like, move it along.
She's like, I don't do cute. Next.
I love the cute. I love the cute. I like when, I mean, this, we talked about it before with the like big stoic guy who's internally a big softie. But like when the woman is like clearly in some kind of, this is a dumb example, but like if he walks in and she was like in the middle of changing, and he's like, I'm so sorry. Because he's like so respectful, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's cute. But then later, if they like, you know, the more like when they finally can be together and it's like, then it's super sexy. But the cute first, I think it's great.
So there's two that comes to mind, but I like when you have a single parent romance and they have kids if they're babies, and then the other person, typically it's like the female has the baby, and then, you know, they have the male love interest. They come in and they're just so cute with the kids. Like they just take the initiative and they create that bond with the kids. I really like that. That's super cute to me, especially if they're alpha heroes and they're so like gruff and burly, but then they're like with the kids, they're like, okay, I'll hold you. Or, you know,
Yeah. Big teddy bear.
Super adorable.
Or when they're really like nice with animals.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel weird, like in this particular chat, I need to specify, I don't mean in a sexual way. Not like any weird animal thing.
No, we don't. That's one thing that we don't play with around here. I don't think there's
That's
anyone
not a
here
thing.
that
don't like
that's not a no.
I didn't mean
Let's
you guys. I just mean,
into
like,
an animal.
I feel like not necessarily the people here, but just like given the things you've discussed, just want to clarify. I also think coming out of my mouth, nobody's like, oh, Elle likes it. Like when people are into
Nobody would go there.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But I still felt the need to clarify. It's the internet. You never know how things.
This is true.
Mhm.
You're like, I don't want to leave any room for assumption here.
Yeah. Just
So, like,
clear the
you know, the
table.
When the guy is like, it's exactly what you're saying.
Communication
It's guy, but I keep saying guy, but I think it's also just like anybody who is generally stoic. It can be a female character too, but when they're like normally very reserved, but then like they're very affectionate toward like, you know, like, do you want a belly rub? So like the dog or a wolf, it's a fantasy, whatever it is. Or like they're like talking to the horse to calm the horse down, and you're just like, they can be sweet sometimes.
Yeah.
But
your other
another one for like acts of service, like Jashana was saying, or if like they're noticing little things, like when you're saying like they notice like this person's socks. But there's this one thing that happens in Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. The main male character, his name is Archer. He notices the kind of chips that the female character likes, and she likes a certain kind. Like she likes the folded over kind, so it's like more durable. Like she just likes those chips, and so he actually, you know, bought enough chips so she could just have a bowl of folded chips. And I was like,
cute.
that's adorable.
That is really
Yeah.
cute. I'd be so happy.
It's like, because she was eating them and she was like, wait, these are all folded over. Like, and he was like, I noticed those are the chips you pick up first. So I was like, you're so cute. I hate it.
I had a guy do that in high school with Starbursts because the pink and the red were the only ones I would eat. And for my birthday, he gave me a little box. And when I opened it, it was all pink Starburst, except in the middle was a red J for my initial. And that was like my present that he gave. He was just, we were dating. We were friends.
That's nice. I just any like random, just like out of nowhere act of kindness, I think is super sweet. Just like, you know what? I thought about you and I just wanted to do something nice.
Yeah.
It's always really, really sweet, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steph is like, let me get my phone. This is boring.
Nobody's banging. This is stupid.
We're not talking about BDSM.
Talking about the cute
I'm not a part of
stuff, and you know.
Nobody
Like-
was taking a nap or
No, I do daily reels. I don't know if you guys know this, but I do daily reels on Instagram.
I do.
And I have to, you know, sometimes I'll go like a couple of hours and I haven't filmed anything, and I'm like, oh wait, I should be filming this to put it in the daily reel because that's what I was doing that day. So sorry.
You're fine.
And you're talking about nothing that I want to talk about. So
Yeah.
I'll just
Bye.
do my little clip right now.
Yeah.
We got very vanilla for a while here.
Very.
No
Nicole, do you have
flavor.
another
And we
one?
still
Spice it
have
up a
Charles to
little
go.
bit.
So Charles, what's your
Yeah.
cute trope?
Yeah. I would say I don't know how you would classify it. It's like it's not single parent. It's like when like the kids go and stay with like a relative because the parents die, like that type of found family trope.
Oh yeah.
And like them like trusting like the like I think a great one like Wait For It by Mariana Zapata. Like the heroine is taking care of her brother's kids and her brother passed away a couple years ago. And like their like little found family, how they care so much and how they kind of like get jealous of like the new guy coming in, especially the teenager. Like I don't want you here. Like I'm man enough. I just love like, especially when it's done well, like seeing kids have more of a prominent role in the romance and seeing like that being handled really well. Like another example is like The Stopover by T.L. Swan, where they really kind of deal with like the kids accepting like a new
No, it was The
person in their
Takeover.
life after their father passed.
It was The Takeover.
The Takeover.
Not The Stopover.
Yeah, The Takeover.
The Takeover.
The Takeover. I find that really cute. Like that's like
I didn't find them
love that when
kids
it's
cute at
done
all.
so well when you have a family aspect to it.
The kids needed a
But
butt
like, the
whooping.
reason why they were so bad, like it makes sense.
Now I'm thinking of the Michael
But
Jordan.
that's like my favorite cute trope.
So cute.
Yeah.
Too fun. Well, nice. I mean, we talked an hour and 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's
It
probably a
went fast.
solid conversation, solid video. Yeah, Elle, or did you want to continue with other prompts?
I mean, no, that was, I feel like we could probably at some point come back and do another video with the other prompts that we didn't even get to.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could be super fun. This was very fun.
Yeah.
And, I feel like everybody needs to go subscribe to all of your channels.
Yes.
It was super.
Yes, please.
I'm glad that you guys joined us. It was such a good time. I still can't get over the fact that I'm like, this channel is to raise money for like sick kids and stuff. The best ways.
How you should properly choke someone.
How to properly choke somebody.
Well, you could go for like
Yeah.
domestic violence, or
That's
you
true.
could do,
Yeah, I could go towards that. Yeah, there you go.
sex trafficking, or
Yeah.
child sex trafficking. There's a couple of things that
Donate
you could go for.
that. There you
from
go.
this.
There
I
you
like
go.
how we see our favorite cute trope up on the screen.
Oh yeah. We can take that off. I told you I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. You know what I'm doing. All right. Well,
The ending, Steph didn't get to contribute as much. We ended on a dull note for her.
it's all
I
right.
think it's important to note that if you don't read romance at all, or you just enjoy the romantic subplot in fantasy, and that's where you're at on a romance journey, there's such a wide variety in romance. Like we like
Something.
stuff because we read it all the time. So we
Yeah.
like many different.
Mhm.
You like one, and there's romance for you.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, isn't it the
Definitely.
most like I
Profitable,
feel like I just read something like as far as people buying books that romance is like the biggest seller as far as the genre, that like people buy the most romance.
It is.
Yeah.
Just in general.
It is
like
either the first or the second best-selling genre in the book world. It keeps the lights on for everyone else.
I was going to say it carries the publishing
Yeah.
industry
Yeah.
so that the rest of everyone else can look down on it.
Yeah.
It's like we wouldn't even get the books we like if it wasn't for people reading and enjoying these books and writing these books.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Very true.
So be appreciative, dang it.
No one likes the genre snobbery.
Yeah, no, we're not here for the genre snobbery at all.
Yeah, if you haven't watched, there's a documentary actually on Netflix. It's called Love Between the Covers, and it's about basically people looking down on the romance genre, but it's just fantastic. It's so great.
Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Well, cool. Thank you guys for joining us. I guess we can end now. since we've been talking forever. We really appreciate you, though. Charles had to dip out, I think, for the puppy. Yeah. But thank you. Everyone go subscribe to all of these people. If you're interested in getting more into romance, definitely check all of them out. They have great recommendations.
Or just because they're super fun people.
That too. Exactly.
That works too.
Yeah.
I need to go watch Steph cry over.
Yeah. Go watch Steph cry.
Interval 2020.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. We will go ahead and end
You're welcome.
now. Bye.
Bye.